my name. Out loud, if you can. Now ask yourself something you've never actually asked. What is that exactly? Not the sound. The thing the sound is pointing at. Because here's what's strange. You've spent your entire life answering to a word that was chosen for you before you could speak, before you had a face worth remembering, before there was anyone in there to agree to it. And somehow, it stuck. It became the thing you defend, the thing you write on forms, the thing that shows up on a headstone when everything else about you is gone. We're going to take that word apart tonight. There's an old thought experiment. A ship sails for years. One plank rots, gets replaced. Then another. Then another. Eventually, every single plank has been swapped out. Is it still the same ship? Most people say yes. Something about the shape stayed the same. The function, the story of the ship. Now do the same thing to yourself. Every cell in your body is replaced on a cycle. Skin, blood,
is anyone there?
Gut lining, gone and rebuilt within weeks.
I'm still
or
here.
Months. Even the slower ones, bone,
is anyone
some
there?
neurons, are not the same physical matter
I'm
they
still
were
here.
a decade ago. You are not the ship you wore 10 years ago.
There is not one
plank
left.
So when you say I, when you say your own name,
there is not one plank
exactly
left.
What are you pointing at? Not the body. That's already been replaced. Not the mind. That's already been rewritten. We covered that last time. You're pointing at a story. A thread someone keeps insisting is continuous, even though nothing physical backs that claim up. The name is the label on a ship that has no original planks left. Here's the part that should unsettle you a little. If perception is a construction, and it is, and memory is a reconstruction, not a recording, and it is, then what's left to hold on to? The name. The name is the last stable object in a system that is, underneath, completely unstable. Watch what happens when someone questions your name. Not the sound of it, the right to it. Someone calls you the wrong name by accident, and something in you flinches. Small, fast, automatic. That flinch isn't about the word. It's about what the word is holding together. Psychologists have a term for this: the narrative self. The idea that your brain doesn't experience raw, disconnected moments. It builds a story, a character moving through time, with a name in the title role. Your name is the spine of that story. Remove the spine, and the story doesn't just get shorter. It stops making sense. That's why people fight so hard to keep their name, their title, their nationality, their team, their tribe. Not because those things are true, because losing them feels like losing the thread that makes the rest of existence readable. Think about what your brain is actually working with. Senses that filter and guess more than they report. A memory system that rewrites itself every time you open the file. A sense of now that's already gone by the time you notice it. That's the raw material. Uncertain, shifting, never fully solid. If you were a prediction machine, which biologically you are, built to survive inside that kind of fog, what would you build first? A fixed point. One thing you decide in advance you will not question. The name does that job. It's not chosen because it's true. It's chosen because something has to be true, or the whole system stalls out trying to verify itself before it can act. This is the same reason a simulation, in the more literal sense, needs an anchor object, a coordinate, a root, something the rest of the system is measured against, so it doesn't have to recalculate its own existence every single frame.
Your name is that coordinate. Not because it describes anything true about you, because without some fixed reference, a mind built out of guesses, rewritten memories, has nothing to stand on. That's not weakness, that's engineering. But it's worth knowing that the ground you're standing on was chosen for convenience, not for truth. This isn't theoretical. We know what happens when a name is taken from someone. In prisons, in camps, in the earliest days of institutions built to break people down before rebuilding them, the first thing removed is almost
My name is Arthur. My name is Arthur.
A number instead, a rank, a designation. Because whoever built those systems understood something most of us never have to think about. Take the name, and the self starts to come loose, faster than you'd expect. There's a clinical term for a related experience: depersonalization. A state where a person feels detached from themselves, watching their own life like it belongs to someone else. People who experience it often describe the same thing. Their name stops feeling like theirs. They say it in their head, and it sounds like someone else's word. Borrowed, worn, slightly wrong.
That's not a malfunction. That's what happens when the story loosens its grip on the thing telling it. And on the other side of that, people in certain meditative states, certain psychedelic states, certain moments of extreme stillness, report the exact same sensation, not as horror, as relief. Same mechanism, two completely different doors. There's another version of this, quieter, and most people live through it without noticing what it means. Immigrants who anglicize their names to survive a new country. People who change their name after a divorce, after a transition, after leaving a religion behind. Almost all of them report some version of the same thing. For a while, they don't feel like themselves. Not because they became someone else, because the anchor moved, and the mind hadn't finished reattaching to the new one yet. Give it time, though, and the new name becomes just as solid as the old one felt. Which tells you something important. The feeling of rightness attached to a name isn't coming from the name. It's coming from familiarity, from repetition, from the brain deciding, after enough exposure, that this particular sound is now the fixed point it's allowed to stop questioning. The name was never sacred. It was just rehearsed until it stopped feeling like a choice. So try the experiment properly. Not the ship. You. Take away your name. Take away your job title. Take away your nationality, your team, the language you think in, even the years. Take away your age. What's left?
Most people expect the answer to be nothing, an empty room, a void. It isn't. Something is still there, watching this sentence, noticing the discomfort of the question, noticing that it's noticing. That's not new information. We've been circling it since the first video. The name was never the thing doing the watching. The name was the label stuck on the outside of something that never needed a label to exist. You didn't lose anything by removing your name in this thought experiment. You just, for a few seconds, saw past the packaging. Here's the uncomfortable part. You're gonna walk out of this video and pick your name right back up. You have to. The world runs on labels. Forms need names. People need something to call you across a room. That's fine. The name isn't the enemy here. The mistake
was never having a name. The mistake was forgetting that it's a label, not the object. A finger pointing at the moon, mistaken somewhere along the way for the moon itself. So next time someone says your name, notice the half second before you answer. That gap. That's not empty. Something was there before the word arrived to describe it. Something is still there after the word fades. We don't know what to call it. That might be the point. Maybe the only honest name is the one that was never given. Anyway, that's your name. Try not to take it too personally. So don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Who would help